Hey y'all, so this is the first ever tutorial I'm making, and it's because when I was looking on YouTube I was trying to make my own stinger transition, something that would be fun, something that would be creative and make my stream more interactive. So it would be really fun. I couldn't really find anyone that made stinger transitions with the programs I had accessible to me, and it was really tricky. It was really hard, but I ended up figuring it out, and I'm very proud of myself, and I wanted to share it with you guys, so that way if you guys are trying to figure out how to make your own stinger transition, you won't really have a hard time doing it. So the programs I used were pretty simple. It was Vegas Pro 16, which is an editing software, and then I also used Clip Studio Paint to draw out everything I had. The thing with this is that you don't really need Clip Studio Paint if you want to make everything personal and animated and like cartoony, and you want to just draw your own things and animate them yourself. Then you can do that with Clip Studio Paint, Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, Procreate, anything at all. The way I do it is kind of a long process. It's a little tediating, but it's so worth it at the end, I promise you. At least to me it was. I am in no way, shape, or form a professional at this. There's probably a much faster and easier way to do this, but this is just the way I did it, and I feel like this was the easiest way for me to do it. So without further ado, let's get into the tutorial. Okay, so we're basically starting off at Vegas Pro 16. This is where we're going to be doing most of our editing and everything. So if you have this or another editing program, then that's fine. This is Clip Studio Paint. I'm just going to show you a couple of transitions I did here, just so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about when I say if you want to draw them yourself, you can. Basically, I got this idea from another stinger transition, and I drew my design of what I wanted and tried to animate it as best as I could. I tried to put everything in a place where it would look the most fun, the most creative, etc, etc. I will leave the link to the original stinger transition that inspired this idea in the description, so if you guys want to go take a look at it. So yeah, basically that's all I had, and what I did is I basically exported those photos out of Clip Studio Paint and I saved them into different image files. Here are all the image files I have. It's a lot, I know, but don't worry, we're gonna tone it down a bit. So what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to export those files into individual images, import them into Vegas Pro 16, and we're actually just gonna cut it down here real quick. I fast forwarded the video a little bit so you guys won't have to see me cutting down the entire thing, but basically what I'm doing is I'm cutting it down to where the animation is where I want it to be, so that when I do the stinger transition, the animation will look perfect, it'll look clean, and just the way I want it. So now that we have our animation, we're going to add another video track right here, and then we're going to add another one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this video track at the top so that we can have it there, and I'm going to go right to where it starts to transition. Because with OBS or Streamlabs OBS, whenever you're using a stinger transition, the white is for when you want to transition to the next scene. So the next scene will track the white screen, and then the black screen is the previous scene you're transitioning from. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put basically one of the white backgrounds and put it at the start of the transition, and I'm just going to cut it to where I wanted to show the next scene. I'm going to be doing this for every single little animation. You see how I'm kind of going along with it, going along the lines, so that way when it goes to the next scene it can show the entire scene. It can just have a smooth transition from the previous scene to the next scene. And I had to do a little editing here so it can be a clean transition. And now that we have it done, we're going to see how it works. Pretty smooth, I would say. Then what we're going to do is we're going to put our canvas to 3840 by 1080, click OK, and we're going to have this big old canvas over here. Now this part is a little tricky, it's a little more tediating than this part, but I mean, it's completely worth it, I would say. So we're going to move this last one up here, and from just the regular animation raccoon transition, we're going to copy it, copy all that, and then we're going to paste it on top into that same timeline. So we're going to have two of the same ones. The only difference is we're going to be moving one to one side and one to the other side. So we're going to be stretching this all the way across so it can be on the left side. This is going to be our regular, just plain old transition to where there was no white, there was no box. It was just plain transparency. Also, another thing, you're going to want to make sure all these images are transparent so that there's no white background or anything. So we're going to be doing that with every single one. The good thing is we only need to do it with one. We can copy it and then we select them, all of them, and then paste the attributes, and now they're all on the same side. That's the great thing about this program. I really love it. So this next part, we're basically going to be doing the same thing except to the right of the screen rather than the left of the screen. So then we're just going to pick one right here. This one's good, and we're just going to be moving this one to the right of the screen. And we want to make sure we get it really aligned very well, so we're going to have to zoom in a little bit just to make sure we have it aligned. Okay, now once we have that aligned, we can back out. And like I said, we only need one, so we can copy it and then use our selection tools to select the entire scene right here. We'll paste it, and we paste the attributes, paste the event attributes, and now they're both side by side, which is really neat. Now the only one we need to do is the white bar, and it's a little more teasing because we can't just do it like we did the other ones. Since each scene is moving from top to bottom, we actually need to do each one. We're actually going to be doing it all to the right rather than the left. So this is going to go on the right side of the screen to where the right Lamy is. So we're going to have to put each one, since it's going up and down, we have to move each one. Now that we're done with this part, it should look something like this. See, so one has the white bar and one doesn't, and that's how it should be. So now, this is where the easy part comes in. We're just going to drop the vision level on the second one, the one on the right, to 0. So that way we don't see the Lamy anymore. Now, if we go, we'll just be able to see the white bar coming down. And that's what we want. That's all we want. Because all we want is the track matte, and it's probably one of the easiest things to do. And we're going to select every single thing on here. Make sure you get it accurate. We're going to go to File, Render As, and you also need this app called QuickTime 7. QuickTime 7 is so you can render your videos transparent. Otherwise, if you just render your video as Sony AVC/MVC or anything else, you're going to get like a white background in the back or a black background in the back, and that's not what we want. We want a transparent background. So you're going to have to download QuickTime 7. It's an extension. I will link the extension in the description so you can go download that if you want. I don't know if that's the way it works with other video editing websites, but I'm pretty sure it does. You can look up tutorials on other video editing websites also, but I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. If not, it might be easier. You might be able to export a transparent video on another website, but I'm not really sure. We're going to click on QuickTime 7, and I'm going to go on to my custom template, and then we're going to drop it down to custom frame. We're going to put 380/40 by 1080p, and we're going to have 59 selected, the very bottom one, the highest resolution, and everything else you can change here, but I like everything the same. And we're going to click OK. We're going to save it as untitled, and then we're going to render it. And when we render it, it should render as transparent. I can't really show you guys the example because it won't let me. I don't know why, but as far as I know, it should be transparent. That's basically it for Vegas Pro. So now we're going to move on to Streamlabs OBS, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it there. So let's go to Streamlabs. We're going to open that up, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go to the settings. We're going to add a new transition. I'm going to delete this one so I can show you guys. Add transition. Go to Stinger transition. We're going to browse for the file right there, untitled. And then you can click the time if you want to. You don't really have to. I didn't, but that's only if you want to. We're going to use the track matte. We're going to turn that on. And since the file's side by side, we're gonna use this one because they were both side by side. And you don't really have to put invert matte colors, and then you can put fade out to transition or crossfade if you want. I click done, click on the stinger transition, and it should work from here. So if I transition, that's what's gonna show up. And there you go. That's how you do a stinger transition. Well, that's how you do it in my way, of course. So yeah, like I said, this was a long and grueling process for me. I am pretty sure, as I said before, there are much easier ways to do this. There are much faster ways to do this. But this is the way I did it. If anyone else has any other suggestions on how to make the stinger transitions a lot easier and a lot faster, please let me know, and maybe please make a video about it. That would be pretty cool. I just wanted to share this with you guys, so maybe you guys can make your own. You can make your streams like just the way you want them, you know, to make it more fun for you and for your audience. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I hope you guys will join me for the next video, and I will see you guys later. Bye!